The first steps in Minecraft's development. Markus Persson, popularly known as Notch, is the person responsible for the creation of Minecraft in 2009. The game was once referred to as Cave Game. This game was different from other online games in which you create things because instead of simply creating structures, you also had to gather resources in order to build those structures. Other online games in which you create things involve gathering resources in order to create those structures. This combination was uncommon given that the majority of games available at the time required the player to either only gather resources and not build, or to build but not have to gather resources. In addition to that, Minecraft was also a game about surviving in the wilderness. You have to avoid being killed by aggressive mobs while still having the opportunity to explore the wide environment. You can also use your resources to manufacture new materials, which you can then use to construct new buildings, survive for a longer period of time, and develop further materials. Minecraft updates. Updates that were implemented after version 1.0.0 was made public. The Explorer update was the one that brought all of the features that are in the base game, such as health and other base features. The following update was version 1.1, which included the addition of spawn eggs for all of the existing creatures as well as 51 new languages, 3 of which were completely made up. Additionally, there was a 1 in 20,000 chance that oak leaves would drop apples. 1.2.1 was the version of the following upgrade. The Bottle of Enchanting and the Fire Charge were the new things that were made available as a result of this change. In addition to it, mining tunnels and desert wells were added. The following update, version 1.3.1, was made available. Many things were added and improved throughout the course of this release. Trading goods with local villagers and a new gameplay option known as Adventure Mode are 2 of the new features introduced in this version of the game. In addition, other buildings, such as temples in the savannah and the jungle, were included in the game. Emeralds and desert communities are 2 of the new features that have been added to the game. The next update was version 1.4.2, which was known as the Scary Update. This update included several new features, one of which being the Wither, the game's second monster. The anvil, carrots, potatoes, pumpkin pie, a carrot on a stick, item frames, and flower pots were some of the additional things that were added as a result of this update. The Wither skeletons, the witch, and the bat were the new mobs that this modification added. The following update for Minecraft was version 1.5, sometimes referred to as the Redstone upgrade, and it was a very significant update for the game. Additionally, blocks associated with redstone were introduced, additional death messages were included, and slimes in Minecraft started to only spawn at specific hours of the day. The following patch was version 1.6 and was referred to as the Horse update. The horse, the mule, and the donkey are the 3 new monsters that have been included into the game as part of this update. In addition, a great deal of horse and pet-related accessories, such as horse armor, leads, and name tags, have been included in the game. In addition, the splash words and the end credits were implemented into the game during this version. The 1.7 upgrade, also referred to as the update that changed the world, is deserving of the label it has been given. This update adds 16 new colors of stained glass and glass panes, in addition to new biomes, tree types, and flower varieties. It included pufferfish, clownfish, and salmon as new additions. Following this update, water, portals, and other glass blocks are now visible through the panes of glass, despite the fact that the glass itself did not undergo a significant amount of change. Deep Ocean, Extreme Hills, Mega Taiga, Standard Taiga, Flower Forest, Birch Forest, Roofed Forest, Sunflower Plains, Mesa, and Savanna are some of the new biomes that have been introduced to the game since it was initially released. The subsequent update was version 1.8. The Bountiful update. Granite, andesite, and diorite, along with all of its polished counterparts, were all included with this version. Additionally, it included seed temples along with all of the blocks and mobs that belong to them. The arrival of Microsoft. In 2014, Microsoft paid $2.5 billion to acquire Minecraft from its creator, Markus Persson, sometimes known as Notch. There were a lot of individuals who were upset and angry about the fact that Minecraft was no longer in the hands of its original owner, and there were a lot of people who were scared that Microsoft would damage the game. On the other hand, users quickly realized that the changes that were made were not particularly significant and that the game would maintain its distinctive feel. During the 1.9 update, often known as the Combat Update, the game received 2 new sorts of arrows, which are referred to as tipped and spectral arrows respectively. When someone is struck by one of the tipped arrows, the effect that was on the arrow is transferred to the person who was struck by the arrow. Along with that, shields were introduced, and while they slowed your movement to the level of crouching, they made it so that arrow damage was completely negated and that damage taken from melee combat was reduced. Additionally, if you combine a banner with your shield, the banner's color will be transferred to the shield. In addition, a new type of potion known as Lingering Potions was added to the game. This type of potion stays in the area where it was thrown after it has been used. Swords now have a new ability called the Sweep Attack, which can hit many foes at once. Additionally, a new slot was introduced to the game so that players have the option of holding items in their left hand. Igloos have also been added to the game, making it possible to travel further into the end if you have an Ender Pearl. Additionally, the end has been modified so that you can now travel further into it. In addition, this update introduced new monsters known as shulkers and skeleton horses. Update 1.10, commonly known as the Frostburn update, added the auto jump feature, which causes you to jump automatically when you are near a block. This feature was added because it was a request from players. There were also several new blocks added to the game, such as bone blocks, which can be discovered in bone structures, brick blocks, nether wart blocks, and magma blocks, which cause damage to the player if they stepped on them. In addition, 3 new enemies, known as mobs, were added to the game. These were polar bears and strays, which were little more than skeletons that appeared in snowy areas and shot arrows that caused the player to move more slowly. The husk is the final enemy that was added to the game. It is an alternate kind of the standard zombie, except it only spawns in deserts, is unaffected by sunlight, and causes hunger in any opponents that it kills. After this update, Endermen will be able to go to the Nether. Roads within villages have also been rerouted in some cases, dependent on their precise locations. The subsequent upgrade was version 1.11. The Explorer update. Llamas, which are docile animals that may be trained, have been included as part of this update. It will spit at whoever is attacking it when it is provoked. Another thing that was included was the Mansion in the Woods, which was a naturally formed building. In addition to that, it included the End City, which could only be accessed after the Ender Dragon was defeated, and it had shulkers that could fire levitation bullets and drop shulker shells. After then, there was an upgrade that was referred to as the World of Color update. This was due to the fact that this update placed a greater emphasis on adding color to the game. The expansion consisted of the addition of just 2 mobs. The Parrot and the Illusioner were the names of these 2 gangs. The Parrot has a chance of spawning naturally in jungle biomes, and it may be domesticated by feeding it seeds. The Illusioner is a type of villager mob that is armed with a bow and arrow, and it was the second mob that was added to the game after it was first released. There were 3 new types of blocks introduced into the game by virtue of this update. Each of these blocks came in 16 distinct color incarnations. Concrete, concrete powder, and glazed terracotta were the 3 new types of blocks that were included into the game. The update that came after it was 1.13. The Aquatic update. It included a large number of brand new structures, mobs, and blocks. The Dolphin is a passive mob that will grant you a boost to your swimming speed if you swim near it, while the Drown was the other new mob that was added. After that, an update known as 1.14 Village and Pillage update was released. This update introduced a significant number of new gangs and made significant adjustments to the existing communities. The Traveling Trader, Llama, Fox, Panda, Pillager, and Ravager were the monsters that were introduced into the game during this update. Scaffolding and lanterns were among the blocks that were added, along with a significant number of utility blocks. In addition to these aspects, the villages themselves were altered so that they are more consistent with the biome that they are located in. Another weapon, known as the crossbow, was included in the game after it was developed further. Over the next few years, Minecraft will receive a significant number of updates. Over the course of its first decade of existence, Minecraft has seen significant development. Everyone at Mojang and, more recently, Microsoft is continuously working on it to make it better and to continue ensuring that the game is both fun and hard. It is a game that is always changing. Always keep an eye out for anyone who seems suspicious.